Good afternoon, YouTube's Mallory George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Botany Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, it is Friday, and it's the end of the weekend. Folks, if you saw me earlier this week, I wasn't doing too well. Oh, I was in a bad shape, but I was a trooper. I did my lives, I did my interviews, but now I'm a little bit better. Still trying to shake off this nasty little cough. It's this season. Oh my God, you hate it. But that's part of winter. Excuse me. So anyway, folks, we have here is a lovely young lady. Just saw her get an interview yesterday with my man Kel L, the Wanderer. He is a great guy, great content maker. He's a fan of the ladies of muscle. And she also is a competitive bodybuilder. She just did the nationals last month. Can you be it? Last month, last year. You can say it. That
Yep.
it's 2024. It was 2024, and now it's 2025. So welcome to lovely Miss Colette Morse, and thank you
Thank-
for your time, young Miss Morse. And will you share with us how you got started in sport, as I call it, muscle and masculinity? Please share.
Yes, absolutely. So, um, I kind of got into the sport, just naturally. I don't know. I've always been active in the gym. I got my first membership when I was 14 years old and have just always lifted and enjoyed that and used that as a stress reliever for me. When I was in college is the first I ever saw of other people competing and like didn't really know anything about it. At that time I was dating somebody who competed as well, and that kind of opened me up to it. And then I waited until after I was done with college and didn't have to invest all my money into that. And I was like, okay, now I feel like I'm in a good spot where if I wanted to actually try this, I could give it a shot, see how it goes. And um, I didn't think, like before, I always looked at it and I was like, oh, like I could never do that. I could never like starve myself for that long or whatever, right? But I wanted to challenge myself and see like what would I look like stage lean? How much muscle do I actually have under all of this? So it was more so just for fun. And then I loved it. And I was like, hey, I actually have a really good future here. I am competitive and this is fun. I like it. So that's kind of how I got started.
Technical difficulties. Computer's acting up. Oh yeah, this is a lot of young people get into athletics. I was when I was young. I played football in my high school years. I played other sports as a young man. Lift weights too. I used to love lifting weights when I was in high school. By the time I was 17, I was already doing 350 on the bench, and I was like, yeah, I was one of the strongest guys on my team. I mean, and it's good. It's something that gets you a passion for sports to work out and train. And I saw in your interview, KL, you did a bunch of sports when you were coming up.
Yep, I did. In high school I ran cross country. I ran track and pole vaulted in track as well. And then I wrestled in high school. I wrestled on the boys team, and then my sophomore year we actually created a girls wrestling team at my high school, and we got third in the state our first year. It was awesome. So those were kind of my sports growing up in high school. And then in college, I was actually supposed to run track and cross country in school, and I ended up not doing it because they didn't have a pole vaulting program at all. And that was one of my favorite things to do. I was like, I'm not going to run and put all my time into this if I can't even do the one thing that I really want to do super bad. So, yeah, in college, I tried to create a powerlifting club at our school, but it didn't really take off super well. So I just did everything myself, kept up with the training myself in college, and started to work at a gym there my like sophomore year in college, and then started my business my senior year of college and into my master's year too.
Mm, shoot. did start your business in college. Yeah, most people in college would be like, "Hey, dude, get drunk, get yeah, we don't have fight." But to have that determination to do something that really gives you passion to start your own business. Like I said, like a lot of young people, they rather just okay. When I get out of college, I'm gonna move out of my parents' basement and I'm gonna get myself a good job. But then you still live in your parents' basement and you still live the same job you're working at. And yeah, that's a lot of work. So so when did you eventually get into bodybuilding? You know,
Yeah, I did my first show in August of 2023. So I graduated grad school in 2022, and pretty soon after that, like, because I graduated in May, but we weren't done with school until like August. So I remember like September, October, a couple months after I was done, I reached out to my coach now, Dominic Kuza, and I asked him, I was like, hey, I want to compete. I was like, I've never done this. Sent him over some photos of like my starting point and where we were at. And we did like pretty much a whole off season. Yeah, because then my first competition was August 2023. So we did pretty much a whole year of an off season, and then I competed it a year from then in August, and then I've been with him ever since. And I had one other show before nationals this year that was the Western Michigan show. That was November 2nd in Grand Rapids. And then we did nationals. So I've done 3 shows in total.
like I say, you're still young. Like you're still young. In the instead of it. But yeah, I mean, it's a sport where it takes time to grow and develop the process. And you and Dominic, that's your coach. Y'all been working for a long time. Does he have any more clients, or you are one of his only ones?
No, he's got a lot of clients. I don't know. I don't believe he has as many female competitors now, but he works with a lot of male competitors, a lot. Like, he's been in the industry for, I believe, like over 10 years now. And he works with lifestyle clients as well. So he does competition and lifestyle, but I'm pretty sure that man has like over 200 clients. He has a ton.
hmm Yeah, I mean that's a lot to have. I know there's a lot of top coaches that have quite a few clients. Some of them I even met in person. Like if you like some guys I can think of like Nasir, I see Nasir, Shelby Starnes. There's also Brandon Ray. A lot of top trainers, and they have done good work, especially those working with women, because women bodies are different compared to men. Chemistry, physiology is totally different, and you have to understand that because you just can't give the same plan you give to a man to a woman. Even every man is different, but sometimes men we can build muscle more than women can, and it'll take us long for us to lose the weight. But y'all women, y'all have more of a high BMI. Your body chemistry is different. And, there's so many factors when it comes to being a woman in bodybuilding.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, yeah, when it comes to your hormonal health and making sure you're in check with all of those things. For me, I feel like it's a little easier because I don't have all the extra, like I'm 100% natural. So I feel like that if you're performance enhancement drugs, like that's a whole other level of things to manage within a bodybuilding prep. Whereas, for me, like there's only so much we can do, right? There's only so much we can add in, so much we can take out. Like there's only so much. So, but yes, it does. It's completely different working with men versus females. Um, and yeah, he just does a great job. Like he's very, um, and I'm the type of person where like I do better if somebody is not constantly giving that validation or all of those things. And I feel like that relationship of less like coddling or whatever like works very well for me. So yeah, he's been a fantastic coach, and as far as education and like teaching his athletes beyond just telling you what to do, he's really great with that too.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like that. Have somebody, okay, take my hand, boss, and walk me across it. Nah, nah. Sometimes you have to stand on your own, but it's good that he's there to back you up, especially when you have those days where you falter.
Hmm.
because this is a tough sport. And I said again, you're a natural competitor, which is a different aspect from those who are more enhanced. It's tougher to compete because, one thing is I know we talk to some of natural competitors that it takes a longer to put on the size and muscle to compete with the ones who are enhanced. Because I know one lady she told me it takes a full year for her to get at least 7 pounds of muscle. Because she did a show a while back and she was top three because there was only three competitors, but still they tell her that she need to put a little more size. It's a lot harder for her.
Yeah. Yep, it is. And like that's, yeah, a lot of the people that competed against at nationals and whatnot for women's physique, they were a lot older. There was actually a girl on stage with us, one that was younger than me. I think she was 21 or 20. But everybody else was like 26 and up or in their 30s or 40s. Like it's a division that you have to take the time to build the muscle, and the muscle maturity is very important there. Whereas like, if you were entering a category with a little less muscle, you might be able to do that and have a winning pro physique in less time than somebody trying to go for bodybuilding or physique.
hmm I think the young lady you talk about is Casey McJunkin. I interviewed her a couple of weeks ago, right after she did the nationals, and I think also a couple of ladies I interviewed. You also got their pro cards at that show. Many of them, like I said, yeah, or in their 30s and 40s. I think also that muscle maturity comes in, especially if you can be been competing for a long time. Sometimes it takes years, especially for women. Sometimes I like this. I've been following body for a long time, and I see that usually some of these women who start really hitting their peak is usually around about mid to late 30s to early 40s. And
Hmm.
then like good example, somebody who she just turned 41 uh, last month is Andrea Shaw, 41 years old, and her physique is amazing. I'm a fan of Andrea's. I mean, she just comes in and she just keeps getting better and better year after year.
Yes, I love her. She's very, very graceful, and just, yeah, like I think she's just beautiful the way she holds her muscle and presents it, and all the work she puts in. And she's also like the nicest person ever if you've met her in person or talked to her too. And yeah, she's a very great role model in this sport to look up to.
Yeah, because I know you said you met her, you talked before. This is something I love to show off every time I do an interview because this says like this is my favorite issue. A friend of mine got it for me when she was at the Olympia back in 2023, and she saw Andrea, and it just really gives me a highlight why I keep doing what I do. This is my reward. I mean, I don't get a lot of monetization from this my YouTube channel, but this is a reward for me when she takes the time off and sign this magazine and tell me she thanks me for my support and she loves me. I love her too. I love her too. I want to
So
marry her. But yeah, it's great there's good people like her representing the sport and giving us a view of what it is to be an athlete in bodybuilding.
yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah. Here we got here comments. This is from my man Balls Deep coming through. He says this. He says, "Good afternoon, gorgeous." Yeah, shout out to Balls Deep. He says. Also, he says, "Chicago in here. Welcome, brother. Thank you for that." Also, he says, "Smash the like button. I appreciate that." Also, he says, "Peace and blessings, beautiful." He's a fan. And also, he says, his another favorite quote is "Schmo gang, 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 gang," and I'm part of that gang. And also, yeah, he says, "She's beautiful." Yeah, he sure is
Thank
party. He sure is party. Quite a young thing like you. But like I said, this is the thing: is bodybuilding does need a lot of you young people to come in and give it life. I mean, you're just out of college. And as I'm a bit of an old Dodger here, I'm gonna say you're still wet behind the ears and breath like Similac. But it's good to see when young people like yourself get involved in sport and really give it some new life. It's exciting because it knows that there's a fan base for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think I like that this sport is one you can enter really at any time, right? But I like that there are younger people getting more involved in it now. And I think that, I don't know, I remember when I was growing up and first got into the gym and whatnot, like people thought that it was weird. I was just writing a caption about this earlier today for like a post for next week. Like, I remember people saying to me, like, don't get too big or whatever. And it's like, imagine telling somebody not to like go for what they're going for, right? Or like not to work super hard for something, which is basically what you're saying with that, right? Like don't get too big, like don't work too hard with it, don't do too much, right? And I think now having muscle is becoming more of a trend, I would say, which I love. Whereas before it was kind of viewed as being like gross or being masculine. And some people still feel that way, right? Maybe it's just the realm and the people I surround myself with that makes me say that. But I like that health in general is becoming more of a trend and people are taking it more seriously, whether that's bodybuilding or whatever that means to you, right? Having some way to challenge yourself and push yourself and get a little uncomfortable, I think is important.
Yeah. One thing, you have to live for you. You can't live for nobody else. You can't
Yeah.
make everybody happy. You should make yourself happy. And I understand the thing is that I think because people don't think women with muscle is very feminine. That's always going to be the thing, the femininity factor. Everybody will say like, "Oh, she's trying to be a man." No, she's not trying to be a man. This is what it is. Being a man is not physical. It's something, a state of mind. See, I grew up as a kid. I grew up and became a man. I worked, I trained, I do this, I did that. I had to make choices that adults make, and then that for men to be a man. Just because some women look kind of masculine doesn't make them a man. That makes you an athlete who works hard, who trains, understands what your goals are. And if people don't understand that, that's on them. I know it might offend your graces, but that's you. Folks, what we're going to do here while we have Colette here, we're going to jump into her social media for a bit. If you want to follow her, her links in the description of this live stream. You want to check her out. Also, she's also a coach and trainer in fitness. So if you're interested, maybe setting up a plan, or maybe because it's still the first of the new year, so you get the new year clients. So you do it from first of January and be done by late February, early March. So that's how the usually works. So you want to follow her, the link's in the description. But guys, be respectful. All right. All right. I don't want no trouble. All right. This is somebody's daughter. This is somebody's child, man. Come on, she's. I got nieces her age. Great nieces about her age too. It's the time I'm an old man. So so we're gonna jump here in social media for a bit here, and we're gonna follow her here. And here we go. And right here is your team. So how long your team been together? How long you been doing your business?
Yeah, so I've had my business since 2020, and we hired our first employee, which is Kelly. You'll be flipping through there in 2023, and then our other two hires were in 2024, Ashley and Chelsea. So this year we've mended all of us together, but I started with just myself back in 2020.
Yeah, that's good. Especially just out of college, and this is something your calm fitness, and it's you've seen a lot of success since you started it.
What was that? Did you say, have I seen success?
Yes, how much success you seen with it since you started?
Oh, like a ton. I mean, it's been my full-time job since I went to college and got a master's degree and didn't get a job for anybody else. I've just been working for myself since I graduated. We have over 130 members working with us now. We've got our team of four. The impact we've been able to make is crazy, like just the stories and changing people's lives. And I absolutely love what I do and I would not trade it for the world. I can't imagine doing anything else. And I feel very blessed that I get to combine a passion of mine with work and how I make a living, right? So yeah, lots of success this last year. Actually, we increased our revenue by over 80%. So,
Ah, that's pretty good. And you've been a businesswoman on your own out of high school, and that's it's a lot tough, especially in a time when the pandemic hit, and then a lot of things were going on in the country with the economy and stuff like that. To have your own business and to see this much success, like been around for maybe a couple of years, pretty good. You should be proud of yourself.
thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, I think it shows like the people in this industry that have longevity and stick around for a while and have the testimonials built up and have the experience, right? And sometimes yeah, it takes time to get to where you want to be. Like I would say this last year was the first year that I was really like, okay, like I have a team now, like I don't have to do every single little thing. Like we fine-tuned a lot of our systems so that it's not me running all of the things. I've got help with things. And this, yeah, was the first year that I really felt like, all right, this is all coming together. I can see the long term vision, right? And I feel like in the beginning of starting a business, it can be very like, there's just so much to think about and so much to do, and people can overwhelm themselves and then never do it or like quit before they really gave themselves a true chance.
hmm Yeah, because it takes a lot of work to do this. So see, that's your boyfriend there. How long y'all been together?
Yep, we've been together. The 20th
Hello.
of this will be a year and 3 months. So, not too long, but it feels like forever in a good way.
What's his name?
Would you say his name? Sorry, you're cutting out just a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. What's his name?
Drew. His name's Drew, and he is a posing coach as well. So, if anybody needs help with their posing, you check him out.
That's good. Y'all both have a passion. You're a bodybuilder, instructor. He's a posing coach. He helps with posing also.
He helps me a little on the side with my posing. I do have other posing coaches. Like I've worked with Grass Fed Fitness. I've worked with Official Sensei Posing. So Josiah Rivera and Jacob Pomeroy are both of those posing coaches. And then he has Drew, my boyfriend, has one other women's physique client right now that he's been working with, but he mainly works with males. That's women's physique is the only women's posing he is familiar with and really knows how to do right now.
Yeah, that's understandable. A lot of it's a lot easier for some people to work with the men compared to the women because y'all have to be more. Your pose has to be more elegant. Guys can be pretty stylish, but with women you have to present both the muscle and the femininity. Compared to with the guys, you just have to show the muscle and just the power. But women have to be very feminine, be smooth, but also show a bit of the power too. Here it is, some pictures from the nationals. So, what was the critique afterwards? Did you talk to Sandy Williamson?
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't feel like I got the best critique. Like she basically just said like everything looked good. And I was like, well, obviously not. Like I got third. Like what do I like I know I don't know if you interviewed Diana or
Diana
Natalie.
Perez?
What was
Yeah,
that?
both. Yeah, I interviewed both Diana and Natalie.
Okay, great. Yeah. So like Diana, I know she like posted her feedback and like she got more feedback than I got. I'm like, shouldn't I get more feedback because I placed low? Like I had to work on more. Like I'm like, what do I? So my feedback wasn't it wasn't super helpful. Honestly, they didn't say anything about my conditioning. They really just said that I need to grow my back. I like want to pull it up now to see so that I don't say anything wrong. Yeah, she said your overall look, hair, makeup suit is good. Your structure is good with a nice taper. I would like to continue to work on more overall development with emphasis on back depth and width. You have potential in the women's physique division. Good luck in future shows. Which that's a little
Mm.
feedback, but I feel like it's not actually what like kept me from like I feel like conditioning is kind of what kept me from placing higher, not my back in general, like conditioning in my lower body 100%. So I don't know, I was a little like confused with the feedback, to be honest. Like I actually even sent it to my coach, and I was like, I was like, this feels like she just responded to respond, but didn't actually look at my photos. You know what I mean? So that's my opinion. Like I said, I'm an open book. I'm always honest about everything. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. Like I do feel like my feedback, I'm like, so what am I supposed to work on then? Just getting a little bigger. Like I feel like there were other things that I could have worked on. Like it was my first national show. I'm like, give me the critiques. I can take it. Like give me a list. Let me know. Like I want to know.
Well, the thing is, with that show, with the Nationals, you have so many competitors, but yet, you need to sit down and just, okay, if you're in the top three in your class and you're just so close from a point or two from getting a pro card, I would sit down and say, okay, here's problems here. If you fix this here and fix that there, give you everything precise. So when it's time for another shot for your pro card or do another show, you can fix those problems. So the thing with coaching, it's kind of, well, not doing coaching, I mean judging. It's kind of just kind of, you know, here and there. One thing I've been talking about here is, they just added the new division coming up this year. Is the fit model division. Excuse my language. So, I'm not a fan of it. I think here's the problem is, this is what they did a few years ago with bikini, because they felt like women's body would get too large, too defined. They bring in a division. Instead of fixing the problem you had in front of you at the time, you put it in something else, and then it becomes involved with the other divisions, just like fitness, just like physique, just like figure. Even bikini and wellness has evolved, because with the other three, women's bodybuilding, physique, figure, and fitness, they evolved from women's bodybuilding, but the other two really were brought in. They and this is no offense to the competitors. This is how I feel of it. It's an invasive species. You ever heard how iguanas live in Florida, but they're actually from South America, and people bring them here, and then they make them pets, and they let them out, and now they are all over the place in places in Florida and other states, because they have grown to live in that environment. And that's the thing with bodybuilding, just like what happens to women's with a bikini and with wellness. It's in the sport now. It has evolved with the sport. I'm seeing women coming from physique and figure coming over to wellness, because they feel like they were too, either they feel like they wouldn't fit in either physique or figure. But you're changing that aspect of that division because you're coming from there. The same thing happened in women's bodybuilding. With physique, when some female bodybuilders didn't know where to go, so they went to physique because they felt like they were too small for bodybuilding, and it changed the look of it.
Right.
Yeah, it's just it's better to try to fix the problem you have now and give a detailed explain detail of it, so everybody can understand what they need to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said yesterday too. Like I think it's great to introduce more people to the sport, but like you just said, like there's criteria online for what women's physique is supposed to be, what women's wellness is supposed to be, all these things. And I don't feel like even like the women's physique girls at nationals, like that's not true women's physique either. Like in like the criteria just is not what they have posted, and I feel like that needs to be fixed before just introducing more people. Yeah, for the same reason of like you said, it's just you got to address the first problem before it's like, let's just add a new category and add another, because then in a few years they're going to do the same exact thing. The same thing's going to happen.
Yeah, you just can't just, how best way to say it. It's an old movie called Scarface with Al Pacino, and there's a part in it. I love movies. There's a part in it where him and his friend goes to the drug dealer's motel room. So the drug dealer kills one of his friends and about to kill Tony, and then they use a chainsaw. They're doing, they're performing surgery with a chainsaw. And surgery's supposed to be precise. You're supposed to fix the problem, then boom, boom, and sew it up, and everything's good. Not just make a bigger mess. Here we have here for a man, Geo James. He says, beautiful. He's a fan. Also, we have here from my man Michael Bissell. He says, women definitely as capable as men when it comes to bodybuilding. She seems very successful in fitness. I wish her the best. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So, what really guided you to do this? Because most people wouldn't want to get something like fitness because it's a lot of work, a lot of responsibilities. Because I know you have a lot of clients, or you know, some of a mix of health clients and some of competitors.
Hmm. Yeah. So do you mean like what drove me to start my own business or like what? Okay.
All of it,
So,
all of it.
okay. So as far as starting my own business, I one like always knew that I wanted to help people and I didn't know exactly how I was going to do that, but a lot of my jobs I've ever had in my life are all like around helping people in some sort of way. So I always knew that I wanted to do that, and I always have loved the gym. Like, so I guess rewind. What got me really into working out, and like why am I gonna put in the work and show up at the gym every day? I moved schools in junior high, and I was bullied really, really bad in junior high and in the beginning of high school. There's a girl that was like a grade above me, so like it was a good portion of junior high, and then she was out of my life for a year because she was in high school, and then I got to high school and it started again because it was the same person. Um, so that I remember specifically, I got beat up after school one time. Like I was not a fighter and I'm still not a fighter. Like I am a hard worker and like yeah, I'll hold my own, but I'm not like if there's not a reason for confrontation, I don't want there to be confrontation. Like that's not me. I'm a lover, not a fighter. So I remember this girl like came up to me and initiated like wanting to fight and I literally told her I was like I'm not doing this. I'm not fighting, whatever. I went to like walk away and then basically got jumped from behind and whatnot as I was walking away. And after that situation, we had to I got PPOs against her and the one other friend of hers that caused most of the problems and solved all of that. But I said, I was like, I need to be strong. I was like, I was like, and people also made fun of me for being like stockier in general and being like broad shouldered. So I was like, I want to be strong. Like I want to look strong too. Like I didn't think I was fat by any means, but I wanted to look better. I wanted that muscly look and I just kind of was like, all right, like if you're gonna say I look like a man or look muscular or whatever, like let me show you what strong is. Let me show you that. And I knew that I was training in certain different sports and that it would help me out for different things too. So I was like, why not? And honestly, once I started going to the gym, I made a different friend group of different people that were at the gym, and some of them being older too, that I just didn't have. So I kind of like found that stress relief and that love for the gym very early. And that was my place to go. Even when I was going to sports, like I was the kid that I went to my sports practice till like 5 o'clock after school. And then I went to the gym until like 6:30, 7 o'clock. And then went home, ate dinner, did my homework, went to bed. Like that's what I did. So that's kind of what drove me into like the fitness part in general. So I remember in high school writing down like, what do you want to do when you're older? I said, I want to get paid to work out, right? Like that was my dream job. So I didn't know that it was a possibility actually or what that all entailed. But like I said, in college, I started working at a gym. And after doing that for a couple of years, I was like, I think I could do this better and help people more in a different way. So then I did. And I knew pretty early on that I didn't want to work for somebody else. I had a few different jobs in college, but I had one big corporate job specifically where I worked for a big company and just absolutely hated it. And I was like, I am never doing this. I want to control my own destiny and schedule and life in general. So that's long story short ish of kind of why I did all the things I did and the path that led me there.
Well, I can understand. As a kid growing up, my family was poor. We didn't have a lot of things. We didn't have always the best clothes. Kids pick on me because I'm short, and I was like, I'm only 5'7". I was probably about 5'6", 5'5", and I was really heavy set, broad shoulders, big. Just it was in my family. Me and my sister were we were about the same build because we took after my grandmother, my father's mother's side of the family. And yeah, I don't like fighting if I can avoid it. But You know, if I have to, I got to do what I got to do. If you were my child or my little sister, someone's got their hands handed to it. I mean, you know, I'll be, you like, I'd be like, you know, there's an old school wrestler called Dusty Rhodes. I'd be throwing rainbows like a shotgun, you know. But yeah, I mean, people who don't understand what somebody who that person is, who they want to be, and just because it's not the norm in their mindset. And it's so easy to pick on something that's different, but not saying, you know what, why need, you know, but as children, we sometimes we just either we go with the crowd or we just don't want to look like an outsider. It's just it's tough about life, especially growing up because you're in your teen years, you're not grown yet, you know, or and then you're not really a child anymore. It's just that in between, and that's the tough part of that life.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Hmm. Yeah, it made me want to give you a big hug, saying, you know, because I said I'm an uncle, I'm a great uncle, you know, me think of my nieces and nephews, and I think, you know, I love them to death. You know, I don't see them too often like I used to, but you know, I always tell you, sweetheart, everything's gonna be all right. You'll be fine. So, when you that feeling when you first was on stage, what was that like for yourself? You know, being up there on stage, people got they're like this. Most people who out there crowd, when we see you competitors, we see these people in these nice little outfits, all these big muscles, and they're standing around in the light and everything, just a big show, but don't understand the process of the show, how the work you have to get there, you know, you're tired, dehydrated, you're hungry. What was that feeling like for you when you first competed?
Yeah, so you forget about all of the bad feelings when you get on stage, or at least I did. But I also like, I feel like my answer to this is a little different because I have a history of being on stage. Like, I am the lead singer in a band, and I've done so many different singing competitions, singing like national anthems and choir and performing different things. So like, I'm not a stranger to being in front of people, even like alone doing something, you know. So and I was in theater in high school. Like, I'm not a stranger to any of that. So that part was not as nerve-wracking for me. Um but I loved it. Like, I love being on stage, and I said like yesterday in the interview I had too. It's like it's kind of a tease bodybuilding to me because you do all the work and prep for all the things, but you get like 2 minutes to show it all on stage, where it feels like 2 minutes. It feels like 30 seconds, and then you're done, and then you're like, oh, okay, I guess I'm done. I don't get on stage anymore. Like, that's that. So um it felt really, really cool. I remember like the first time and the first show of this year where I felt like pretty shaky on stage posing. Like, it's just the adrenaline. Like, you practice everything, and then it's like you get out there and you're like, oh my gosh, like now these people are watching me. But I remember on nationals, at nationals, I didn't feel nearly as nervous. Like, I'd done it all 6 weeks prior. I was just ready. Like, and I remember all times I felt super confident and I'm just having a great time, which I know is not the case for everybody. And I think that people really do themselves a disservice, like getting in their head so much on show day and like letting those nerves ruin that day for them, because you do work so hard for that one day, that one time to show it off. And if you're all in your head and thinking that you look terrible and whatnot, like that, you're going to show that as well. Versus if you're like, I did the work, we're here having a good day, all's good, like they're going to see that confidence too on stage, and they both show.
You know, you got to go in there with, you know, your head high, because you know you have to present yourself, especially for women, because the view of it is that women shouldn't have muscles. I'll say again, but you know, being a fan of the sport, I think y'all ladies are beautiful. You bring in a beautiful presentation when you come out on stage. You know, for us, is my crime is I must have heard smile, and I admit that. But it's just learning from when I do these interviews of what it takes for y'all ladies to get there. You know, you're like you working. You know, I know Dom got you on a diet and on a plan. You know, your training regiments, your sleep, recovery, you know, and especially you do it naturally, you know, which is totally takes a lot more than the competitors that use supplements or enhancements, because that's one thing people think about bodybuilding. It's all but steroids. It's like you just like all you just back to be a dog. No. That's only a small factor. And with your case, it's not even a factor. If you're
Right.
not consistent, if you don't train, you don't follow the plan, you know, you can't do what you used to do. Like, okay, like one thing is like, I was just from my doctor's office. I put on a little weight, but it's the winter time. You don't put on weight, holidays, or like that. But at one point, I was almost 500 pounds because I was taking care of my mom for a long time. She was sick. And then when she died, I said, you know what? I got to take care of me. And like yourself, I worked. I had two jobs sometimes. I had multiple jobs coming up. I worked at a gas station. I worked at a textile plant. I worked at, processing plants. I worked here, worked there. I even worked at a gentleman's club. That was at nighttime. He don't, hey, it wasn't all guts and glory over there, sweetheart. It was like, I tell you, there's nights. It's good nights. There's good nights. There's bad nights. But when we get into bodybuilding, that's the thing is you have to be able to put in the work and the time and make some sacrifices. I know, like your family, I know most definitely, your parents be like, sweetheart, I know you love doing this, but we're so worried about you. We don't want you to be, because there's always these stuff about people say about bodybuilders.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, people, there are people that just hear things and they're ignorant and don't learn more, right? They think what they think about the prep and whatnot, and that's that. But um, I think people in general are a little too open to just like throwing their opinions around about how they feel about what you're doing or whatnot too. Um, but yeah, the comments can make it hard. Like I feel like in general, I'm pretty good about just like ignoring people that aren't on the same page as me and not letting that affect me or get to me. But there are sometimes like it's really hard. Like I can think of one thing specifically. My dad is super duper supportive of me. Like and I know anything he says never comes from a bad place. But I remember like one comment, my first prep ever for my first show, and I was down to it was maybe like a couple weeks out from being on stage. So I was maybe like 120 pounds or 119 pounds, something like that. And he was like, like you look good, obviously, like you look jacked, but like I think you look a lot better at 130. And like him saying that, like in that stage, I was like, well, I think you should fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, but he didn't mean it like that. Like it is being stage lean and people seeing that, like it is hard for them to see sometimes or for them to understand if they've never done something like that. Like, why would you want to do that? Or like, how much leaner do you really need to get? Like somebody that's never been to a show, which at that point he hadn't, right? Like they don't even know what that's like. They like people will look at me now and they'll be like, "How many weeks out are you?" And I'm like, "This is the off season." I'm like, "You have no idea what stage lean looks like." Like, yeah, I'm lean, but like you have no freaking clue. So it's more. I understand that it more so comes from an ignorance thing, right, and just not knowing any better. Um, but then yeah, like the comments do get hard sometimes, but you just have to know to separate any of that from that. Like I can even think too like I remember my first show ever, my mom, like the day of the show, like in between shows, she was like, "Can I like take you out for lunch or something?" I was like, "No, no, you cannot." I was like, "I literally could, I go back on stage in a few hours." Like, no. She's like, "Does it really matter like what you eat the day of?" And I'm like, "Oh, like I'm like, are you not like listening to anything I've been saying?"
We gotta remember this. You're her baby. You just
I
because
know.
I see. I grew up in a family. Like, I'm like the middle next to middle next to youngest. And when you're the baby, you're your mama's baby, right? Aren't you?
Oh yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
you're the baby. I'm a middle son. We have to fight for our love. You're the last one. You're her last one. And she doesn't want her. This is how it breaks up the family hierarchy. Firstborn sons, so firstborn child, father's pride. Lastborn child, mother's heart. The middle, we had to fight for both of them. You're the last baby. You don't expect your mama to say, "Baby, I don't want you to be dying out there in your little bikini. I be worried about you." No, but I know it's tough. It's tough because you are an athlete. You want to be out there. You don't want to be whole like you don't feel like a little kid being walked across the hand, with your mama. But yeah, she's gonna work. That's all it is.
Yep. To make it even worse, I'm the only child, so
Ooh, you're one of the lucky ones. That's worse. Yeah,
yeah, it is
yeah,
worse.
yeah. That means that like
I can't blame anybody. It's all on me. I got nobody to blame.
see,
It's all my
see me. I had like I had three ahead of me, and I got two behind me. So actually, I had like I had these a bunch of me. But I'm the middle, so it's like that. But yeah, I mean, it's tough that especially like I said, I'm not a parent, but I did help my nieces and nephews in their lives, and it's hard to sit back and watch your child going through something and you want to do something to help them. But this is something of your choosing and you know it. But like I said, it's going to take your parents a while to understand, especially your father. I think, well, anything, you're your daddy's little girl, his only girl. And,
hmm
he's proud of you. I know he's proud of you. But I know he has to deal with either the assholes making comments about his daughters or the freaks making comments about his daughters say, "Hey, who's that? That's your girl?" Say, "Yeah. Wouldn't mind talking to her." Say, "Hey, hey, 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 that's my little girl, my baby." But you know what? This is the thing about the sport. It's good that you find that you love what you're doing. You have to love to do this because it's a tough sport. It's mentally, physically, financially tough, you know.
hmm Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. It is, but I do love it, and yeah, I definitely do enjoy it. Just to not rush us here, but I do have something at 3 my time. So I don't want to just hop off before then. I don't know if we have certain things to wrap up. If you have any other specific questions, for sure, but I just wanted to make sure I let you know about that.
Okay, good. That's good. Let me know ahead of time. So, we can probably finish up in about another few more minutes and then we can go head out, you know.
Perfect.
But, so what is, this is my man from my man, so this is from my man, my man, Ball TV says, what's her next competition? So, what's the plan?
Yeah, so I'm competing the weekend of May 10th at the Pittsburgh Pro. Well, they will the Pittsburgh Pro, but they also have a natural show that they're doing alongside it. So I'll be doing that natural show that weekend of the 10th.
That's good because I heard about that. It's that's the Pittsburgh Pro, one of the biggest shows in bodybuilding right now. They're trying to do a big, kind of a expo, kind of compete with the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic. I saw this posted some big money for the shows. They're adding men's bodybuilding this year, first time for this year. Not adding women's bodybuilding. Yeah, sorry, excuse me. I'm not a fan of them particularly, so I'm just gonna say that. Yeah, I'm not a man to mix words because as I often I go this, I'm a typical type of criminal, and I'm an agent of chaos and anarchy. So you got to realize me. I'm a bag of nuts. But yeah, this is what I say about women in bodybuilding. There's a lot of work is involved in it, and you have to be determined and want to put your time into it. Because for young ladies, there's a lot more sacrifices. Not just the fact of what it does to you physically as a woman, but also the expense of it, the cost of traveling, your interest fees, your getting your hair and makeup done, your suits and all of that's involved with it. It's a expense, but you have to love it, even though it costs you a lot. You have to love it.
Yeah, I mean, you do because otherwise it's like, and I don't know. That's like what I always think of anytime I'm like on a prep and I even think about wanting to cheat. I'm like, you've spent a lot of money on this. I'm like, you better not do that to yourself. So that's another thing just to throw in there when the going does get tough there. But you really do have to love it because nobody's going to spend that much money, spend that much time, dedicate that much to something if you don't love it. Like I can't tell you how many times people just are like, oh, like I could never do that, or like, how do you do that? And it's like, I don't know. Like, it's really not that hard for me. Like, I just eat healthy and go to the gym. Like, I've always gone to the gym. Like, I had to learn the nutrition part at first, but like, it's I don't really feel like I'm missing out on much just because I don't eat like shit every day like the majority of the population. You know what I mean? Like it's not yeah, like I don't know, it's not like hard for me. Like prep is hard. Yes, I'm working my ass off in prep, but like the other parts of it are not that hard for me. It's how I would typically live anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that. You have to live for yourself, not for anybody else, and you should do what you do that makes you feel, worthwhile in the sport. So I'm going to ask you this last question. What would you like out for yourself in the whole as a bodybuilder?
I definitely want to get my pro card, and I want to go as far as I can go naturally. Like as of right now, I don't have any plans to ever hop on anything or whatever. And honestly, like my main reason for that is because I also sing. Like I have other gifts and talents and things that like that could mess with that. I just don't want to change something long term for that just to win a pro show or something. You know what I mean? Like, so I think I think they're, I've been at it for a long enough time to where if I continue throughout my life, I could be very competitive naturally. And I don't know, like for right now, it honestly is more of like a fun thing for me, like setting an example, like you can do this naturally. You don't need to get on all of these, but I don't know. Like I don't know what the end game is after a pro card. Like I've thought about going into some of the natural organizations and competing there and like maybe going to the Natural Olympia and doing that. But I don't know. Like all those things are potential options and who knows. But I just want to always make sure that I'm doing what's best for me and in the moment of like I'm not gonna be the person that gives up their entire life to bodybuilding probably, which you can already tell with me saying I'm not gonna take any performance enhancement drugs, right? Like that's something you do if you decide, hey, I'm gonna do this for a long time and dedicate some portion of my life to this for sure. So I don't know. Pro card is next, and then after that, maybe taking an off season for a couple of years and really focusing on growth because I haven't had a true well. I'll be competing in May, but after that show, like it'll be probably a good year since I've actually had a full off season. So I want to do that and enjoy life a little bit and come back bigger and better.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. You have a plan. Like other guys sometimes, he says he doesn't ever have a plan. He's just a dog chasing cars. He doesn't know what to do one if he gets one. But yeah, it's good that you have certain set out for yourself and you're determined to do that. I gotta respect that. I mean, people need to understand there's a lot of work to this in bodybuilding, and I hope you do get those opportunities. I mean, they're there for you. You're still young. You still have a future. I ain't saying you don't want to, because I know a lot of people concerned about if you take your performance test, it does change your voice. You start out sounding like, like pouring like a showering rain. Now you sound like Vin Diesel for Fast and the Furious. It's 500 men, you know. But we do appreciate the time you've given us, and we wish you all the best of luck. She's gonna be saying she's gonna be doing the Pittsburgh Natural Show. Just added it for this year. So if you want to go out there and support her, reach out with genuine interest. If you also is sponsoring her, sponsorship does help for these ladies. If you're someone out there who are interested in sponsoring an athlete, someone who's young, intelligent, who has a business plan, make sure it works for her and for your both of your advantages, because this helps out these competitors in the long run in the future. So, ma'am, we appreciate the time you've given me. You have anybody you want to shout out before we let you go?
Just thank you everybody for all your support. I appreciate everybody watching, everybody that follows me, and my DMs are always open for sure if I can help or support anybody else in any way. And thank you so much.
Well, thank you, ma'am. You're welcome. It's one thing I often say to you ladies. Anytime you say thank you to me, I don't need thank yous. I appreciate opportunity you give to me to talk with you. To quote my man, the Dark Knight himself, you never have to. Like you said, never have to thank you. It's just I just love that. My man can't always hear me be talking shit and picking on me. So, folks, I'd like to thank y'all for going through. My man Michael, my man Geo James, my brother Balls Deep for coming through. Anybody who's here, like, comment, subscribe, follow on social media, follow, support Colette in her upcoming competitions. If you're also someone interested, maybe make some health and wellness changes, It's still early. You don't have to stop after February. You keep on going. But if you're interested, reach out to her. If you're a competitor, maybe you want to work with her on your diet or maybe on any other kind of plan. Also reach out to her trainer too. He's looking for competitors to help out. So let them know. Could be helpful for you and both of you in the future, and also financially wise. So, folks, we'd like to thank the lovely Miss Colette Morris for coming through, and wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome again. Anyway, to me on our George page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Like, don't like, subscribe. Have a good afternoon, good weekend, and good luck.